welcome back to my channel. So today I did a video. It's called Let Go of Toxic Family. Let go of toxic family members. And I want you to listen to it so you can understand what that's about. I am not against family. I'm not against the union and the oneness of family. However, sometimes, guys, family is the Achilles heel. Some family members, not all, but sometimes family can be the one that keeps you hindered and keeps you hurt. And when you're hurt, you're not fit for battle. I always say, according to Ephesians 6:12, it says, "For our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, and the rulers of darkness and spiritual wickedness in heavenly places." Your enemy is not who's in front of you. Your enemy is not even really your parent, your sister, your brother, your relatives, aunts, uncles, cousins. It's a spirit that is that, but then listen, they're still responsible, because a lot of time that spirit is they're being used and fueled by the spirit, because a lot of times they're still holding something against you. They have unforgiveness. They just like to see you upset. So they're able to use them to hurt you. And then because you're hurt and because you're feeling upset emotionally, you're not able to do the things that you need to do spiritually in this walk with Christ. Everything always boils down to the bottom line of what Jesus has called all of us to do, which is go out, seek and save the lost, tell people all about him, and preach his word, teach his word, tell people about Jesus Christ, right? Plant those seeds. But guess what? You can't do it if you are damaged. And sometimes the enemy is going to use people close to you to damage you and to throw you off course, or to aggravate you, get you mad, where you cuss them out, and now they're going, "Oh, I thought you were saved." Guess what? Now you've messed up your witness. You go through this whole thing of reeling from that. So what I'm going to do is going to tell you a few things that's going to identify toxic family members. It is not the end all be all, and it's not limited only to what I say. And I'm sure there's other things that you guys can tell me or share that will be definitive of toxic family members. So one of the things is going to be family members that remind you of your past. You weren't always saved. You've done some stuff, right? Maybe you stole. Maybe you slept around. Maybe you had a baby out of wedlock. Maybe you had a baby with a married man. Maybe you got a woman pregnant. Maybe you've been to prison. There's so many different things that you may have done, right? They know your past. You're an illegitimate child. You're in the family because your dad had a baby with another woman. And so you're just in the circle where you're reminded of that, right? Other thing, embarrassing you and downing you in front of other people, whether it's other family members, friends when you come around, or your spouse and your children, disrespecting you, pitting the children against one another. So you and your siblings, your family members, pit you all against one another by starting trouble and problems, making comparisons between your children and the children of your siblings or the children of your relatives. Oh, his son's playing football. What's wrong with your kid? Oh, his child is in this Ivy League college. What's up with yours? Things like that, hurtful things. You have family members that's caused you to lose your job. Okay, they'll call up your job and tell your boss something about you. Call up the school, tell the school something about you. You know, it's hard to imagine, but this happens to people. You have individuals where your household is on the rocks and just all hell is breaking loose in your marriage because of your family, because they want to disrespect your husband. They want to disrespect your wife because they have no respect for you. They think that they can do it. And your family members probably upset. Your wife or husband is upset sitting back and watching you get disrespected, and you defend your family and you get upset with them when they are saying what they're saying, when it's completely out of love and concern. You understand? There's so many things. They drain the money out of you. All right. They'll tell you, I raised you. I brought you in this world, and you can't give me nothing. No, I can't. No, I want you to understand that. Thank God for our parents. Thank God for our family. But I want to let you know that when you have a family member that will speak that way to you and treat you that way, okay? Sometimes you have family members that made choices and maybe it affected you as a child and they did things that caused you to grow up in poverty or whatever. So now you're doing well. And now they are going, well, you owe me, okay? And it's good to take care of your family and your parents and to do what you can for them. You understand that? But you can't neglect your household in the process. You can't take the money that you are saving with your spouse or saving for your children's college fund and give it to someone else or give it to your parents because and I know in some cultures they do that. Listen, you pay off your parents' debt and whatever. I think they do a lot in Asian countries and things of that nature, and then you go from there, and that's fine. And there are things that you can and should do for your parents. I'm not telling you not to, but you have some parents who are damaging, and they will go through all your money and all your savings, and you cannot take care of your household. Once you become one flesh with your wife or your husband, your priority is to take care of your children. You understand? Sometimes now you open your doors and let mom or dad come live with you, but they're causing all hell in your household. Those are things that it's not, oh, these are my parents so they can raise hell in my house. There's nothing in the scripture that tells you that. You can honor your mother and your father from a distance, especially when they're toxic or if they're just plain evil, because you have parents that are just, they do things to hurt their children. You have relatives that want to hurt you. You have a good job and they'll come to your work and do something that causes you to lose your job or jeopardize your well-being. Listen, another thing toxic is family members that, listen, if they're mad at you, they're mad at your kids. If they're mad at you, they'll do your children wrong. That is a toxic family member. Okay? Things of that nature. Family members that sides with your enemies. All right, now, granted, listen, it may be somebody you have been friends with this person forever and they're just a part of your family and they're in your family and then y'all fall out. Well, you know what? Your family's still friends with this person. They've known them. But even then, that family still has to have some clean lines between, hey, this is my family and this is this person, especially if the individual did something wrong to you. But you have family members that they will look and seek out your enemy, the person that you fell out with. It may be your ex, it may be just a friend, it may be something like that, and they will be in cahoots with that person to hurt you. Okay? Just keep up with that person. I'll give you an example. Let's say it's just, there's no reason to give an example because I can't think of anything right now, but a source of your pain, they will embrace it and they will befriend it. And, oh, this is my friend. Okay. And sometimes even bring out the person. Oh, I spoke to so-and-so and he's or she's doing whatever. Toxic. But toxic is, and here's one other thing. You have an issue, you have a problem, and you can't have a healthy exchange with that person to find out what the problem was and come up with a solution and how to get better. That person's mad at you, they're going to cuss you out, they may say things, spit out venom against you, do all these different things, and the only way it's going to end, no matter how hard you try, is going to be in some form of malice, or you are always going to have to apologize to this person. You're always going to have to take the lower seat. You're always going to have to say, it's me, to make it work. And it's never them, right? It's always you. And so you can't have a healthy exchange to figure out what's going on, because you must go through the mill. They must go through this thing of not speaking to you and putting you through a bunch of stuff. And so you do that, right? And so what happens? You're going to say whatever you need to say. I'm sorry. And even forget that you were offended to make this relationship with your family member work. And then you do that, and okay, we're friends and we're good. But then something else happens and you go through the same thing. You can't have the healthy exchange of talking because they're mad at you, they're angry at you. And then what happens? They don't talk to you for a long time. And then one day they may call you up and be like, hey, or you call them up and hey, and you talk and you just move forward and never address the matter, never address the issue. So that pink elephant is in the room. You try your best to walk on eggshells, not to upset them anymore, but then you upset them and something happens, because that's going to happen in any relationship. And then you're on that unhealthy cycle again of them not speaking to you. You're going through the whole thing. You're saying you're sorry. You're trying to make it work. They just mad at you. They're just going to hold you. And oh my God. Get away from that. It's not healthy. You're not always wrong. You're not always wrong, and they're not always right. Just like you're not always right and they're not always wrong. But there has got to be a balance. If you're the one that's always on your knees begging and pleading and trying and crying, and they just won't give you any type of an olive branch, or they have to put you through hell before that they'll talk to you, get away from that person, because that's called emotional abuse. It's emotional abuse. There are family members that's going to remind you of everything that you've done, what you want, what you ain't. And what happens is, as you are around them all the time, you see, you can't do the things of God when you're wounded and when you're hurt. You can't focus on the mission of seeking and saving the lost and doing the things that he's called you to do, because you're full of hurt and you're splintery. So then you're going to do this to other people. You see, sometimes something called displacement will happen, whether you know it or not, where someone else upset you, but you take it out maybe on your kids, maybe take it out on your spouse, maybe take it out on your co-workers. Maybe take it out on your ministry. And so what? You're so aggravated and so mad about what your brother did to you again, that listen, you don't even have time to see the lost soul right here that needs to hear the word of God. You understand? That's why it's serious. That's why it's serious. I spent over 22 years in the military, and I had soldiers, I had people that I was in charge of. But let me tell you about the soldiers. We had soldiers, they had husbands or wives. And listen, the Army is about the family. Some people may say not, but I will really adhere to the Army's motto about families, taking care of the family and the soldier, right? Because the soldier is comprised of their family. So it's important that they have a healthy family, right? So listen, if they're having problems, hey, we're going to give them all the resources that they need to get the counseling to do whatever they want to do. But guess what? If it starts to escalate and that soldier is in a place where that soldier maybe become volatile, or they're in a household where their spouse is being violent or doing certain things that's threatening them, that soldier's coming in, can't focus on the mission, can't focus on what's going on. We're trying to help them, and no matter what we're doing, it's not helping, it's getting worse. What the Army is going to do at that point, and what I'm going to do as a supervisor, the first thing the chain of command is going to do is remove that soldier out of that environment, put them in the barracks if that's the case, things like that. And we're going to, hey, listen, we don't want to intervene in your family, in your household, but if it's getting out of control, where it's affecting your job, your mission, you're in a place where you're doing something, you're coming to blows, we are going to come in, we're going to move you from that situation. We're going to take that soldier out of it. We can't move the family, but we're going to move the soldier. And the goal is that hopefully they can work it out, and it'll all work out. But if it doesn't, then we go to other measures and other steps. But what I'm trying to tell you here is that we're going to remove that soldier. That soldier needs to have the right mindset, and the head got to be on right. You understand? We can't put a weapon in the soldier's hand and he's thinking about what's happened. His wife ran off, her husband ran off with somebody else, having an affair. They moved some other person in the house with him. You understand? No, we got to get that soldier's mind right. We have to reset. Get them back into battle-ready default settings. So you got to pull them out. So the same thing here, guys. A lot of times you're looking at forgiveness in Christianity, and I'm a believer, but you're not following the principles of God in the Bible. Yes, you have to forgive them, but forgiveness does not mean access. And if you're in a repetitive relationship with family that is hurtful, that is evil against you, they're causing discord and problems and the examples that I gave you and more, then you have got to go. You've got to go. You can honor your mother and your father from a distance, honey. You can honor you can love your brothers and sisters from a distance, your relatives. And it's not that you're hateful, and it's not that you're unforgiven, but you have to be battle ready, because that thing that goes on, that can cause you to fall into depression and cause you to be in a place that you are of no good to the kingdom of God. You're of no good to your family. Trust God that he will do it. He will either bring you together with your family, or he is going to bring people around you that can reinforce and replace that which has been lost. God, the Lord, will always redeem what you've lost. But it is important that, listen, toxic people, toxic family members, it's the worst kind of pain. So you'll be able to identify them. If you are that toxic person, stop doing it. You're hurting your family. You're hurting your children. And if you're telling your kids, I brought you in this world and you could do this for me, I'm going to tell you something. No disrespect. You did not bring that child into this world. It had nothing to do with you joining yourself to their father or their mother. God decided to bring them to this world, and it's your job to take care of your child and raise them up. And when you don't raise them up the way that you should, you don't have a right to abuse them. You don't, because they were never yours. Your kids are never yours. There are gifts that we as parents have to do to raise them up and do right by them. Stop what you're doing. Ask the Lord to forgive you. Search within yourself. Let him show you what's causing you to be that way. Because you did not bring the kids into this world. And this thing about I'll take you out, to threaten your kids with I'll take you out in anger, but it's a wicked statement, and it's something that needs to be stopped. Stop that. You can't take them out. And if you take them out, it's because God, listen, if you take them out, rest assured you're going to answer. You will answer to the Lord for taking out what he put on this earth. So we all need to have a whole different perspective of children. Ask the Lord to forgive you. Turn around from that. But again, to everybody else, listen up. God is a God of order. He needs you of sound mind. Sound mind. He's given you a spirit of love, power, and a sound mind. And sometimes having a sound mind, unfortunately, is going to require you to listen, do some extraction and some subtraction. You're going to have to do it. And it's not unforgiveness. It's wisdom. All right, guys, don't forget to like, share, and to subscribe. I know this video is 17 minutes, but I had to get it all out there to you guys. All right. My email link is in the description box. So if you have questions, hit me up, and yeah, I will do my best to answer you. Peace out.